Happy birthday. Shout out to my Scorpios. Hey, welcome to the Mindful Plate. Today's episode is special. Why? Because it's my birthday and we are making one of my favorite chocolate cakes. But this is no ordinary chocolate cake, y'all. This is a special vegan cocoa spice cake with crystallized ginger and coconut chocolate ganache created by Bryant. Now, if you want to see how it's made, then you can skip ahead and go straight here. But if you want to know how I just turned 40 and I still managed to look like I'm 28, then stick around. I have some tips for you. Hey, I'm your host, Shelly Wellness. I'm on this journey to elevate our consciousness around food, and I invite you to join me. On this channel, I'll share recipes created with mindfulness, rooted in wellness. Welcome to the Mindful Plate. I'm guessing you're here because you want to know the secret to looking youthful as you age. Well, I have 6 tips for you. Let's start with the first. Now, the first tip is you got to make the commitment to yourself. When I was 25, I was living in Atlanta and I was part of a vibrant artist and activist community. A lot of the folks were in their 30s and their 40s, but they looked at least 10 years younger. Seeing that in them let me know that I had it in me. I knew then that I always wanted to look at least 10 to 12 years younger than my age. So I asked them, what are y'all doing to look so good? And they all shared similar responses of eating plant-based, ranging from veggie-rich omnivores to vegetarians to vegans to raw foodists to juice fasting and regular cleansing. And so from then, I knew that part of the key to longevity was going to be in my diet. Now, I didn't become a vegetarian nor a vegan long term, but I did a few things that I'm going to share that can help you. And the first thing I did was I made the commitment to myself to maintain my wellness so that my wellness would bring about vibrant vitality at any age. Tip number 2. I stopped shopping at mainstream grocery stores and chains, and I started frequenting the farmers markets and my local health food store. In Atlanta, where I was living at the time, I used to shop at Sabananda and the DeKalb Farmers Market. If you live in Atlanta, then you already know, and if you don't know, you need to go. That's the place to shop. Now, let's be clear. I would pass at least 5 grocery stores, y'all, on my way to get to these stores. However, I was willing to make that sacrifice in distance and time because I knew that those stores stocked the food that was going to create balance and wellness in my body. And like I said, I learned from my older friends that balance and wellness were keys to looking, feeling, and being younger than one's age. So I needed to shop at places where balance and wellness were prioritized in their food selection. Now, I'm a foodie, y'all, you already know. And I don't want to just go to a store and shop the health food aisle. I want to go to a store and shop the entire store. Shopping at health food stores and farmers markets exposes you to new brands that really prioritize less processing and higher quality ingredients. And for those of you that say, it's too expensive, I can't afford it, I don't doubt you. However, I implore you to consider that life costs. And you can pay now or you can pay later with prescriptions and doctor's visits. Either ways, you'll have to pay. So I prioritize my food budget each month to ensure that I'm nourished, well-stocked, and well-fed. Tip 3, I tried out various dietary lifestyles, and I implore you to do the same. I started my health journey in 2005. In the beginning of my health journey, I started with vegetarianism for about a year. Then I transitioned to veganism for 6 months and raw foods for 2 weeks. And then I decided to become a flexitarian with a high plant-based diet. Now, because this was back in the day, y'all, the options were nowhere near what's available now. I'm pretty sure that had the market been further along, I would have stayed with veganism longer. But to be honest, y'all, a lot of vegan food back then tasted like grass and dirt. And coming from a diet of bacon cheeseburgers and cheesy meat-filled pastas and meat-centric Caribbean and soul food cuisine, I wasn't about that life, so I didn't last too long. But what did stick was incorporating more vegetables into my diet. So I happily settled into flexitarianism with seasonal stints of raw food fasts and juice detoxes. This dietary lifestyle gradually weaned me off of meat and dairy to where I am now, which is 90% plant-based and 100% mindful. Tip number 4, I stopped eating fast food and I started eating more global cuisine. My last time eating at McDonald's was in 2002. Now, luckily, I grew up with a Jamaican mom and a Black American dad. Hello, shout out to my parents. So I was already well versed in good home cooked meals. But as an American citizen, I was also well versed in the late night after the club food runs. I'm too tired to cook, so I'm gonna order at the drive-through, and of course the microwavable ready-made meals. But my tribe taught me that those will be the death of my youth. And considering that I love looking good and feeling good, I had no problem saying goodbye. Now, I still love to eat out, so I simply upgraded my experience and I started enjoying more global cuisines like Trinidadian food, which has a host of vegan and vegetarian options, Ethiopian food, which is also veggie rich with communal vibes, Indian food, whose spices always leave me feeling like I've had meat even though it's primarily plants. And then I also got into trying new vegan and veggie spots that started popping up. So if you were in Atlanta in the early 2000s, shout out to Power Plant, Sunflower Cafe, Soul Vegetarian. But wherever you live, I know that there are vegan and vegetarian spots. So you should go try those out and begin to get your taste buds to explore new things. Tip number 5. I got into my kitchen, y'all. Now, this was a no-brainer for me because I actually enjoy cooking. I realized that every time I ate, I was voting for my vitality or not. So I started cooking for myself and designing meals that had my health interests in mind rather than buying meals that had corporate profits in mind. And tip number 6, lastly, there are other factors to not looking your age. And for me, I'm a dancer. I enjoy the outdoors. I've learned how to handle stress. I integrate self-care daily. And also, honey, just blessed with God's melanin, hello, and good DNA. However, what I eat plays a large part in how I look. And it plays a role in how you look as well. You have to remember that you are what you eat. And what you eat becomes your next cell, your next lung, your next liver, your next hair follicle, your next neuron, and so forth. You see, our parents gifted our bodies with a starter pack, but it's our job to see that it lives forward. And the body builds itself using the materials from the foods that you eat. Speaking of food, let's get into this cake, y'all. I want to shout out Bryant, author of AfroVegan, for creating this delicious ginger spice cocoa enhanced beauty. It's my birthday, and while I significantly reduced my sugar intake over the years, you better believe I still have room for cake. Let's get into it. So, because it's my birthday, we are going to use nothing but elevated ingredients for this cake because we want to stay fine and age like wine. Hello? So for this cake, we're going to use elevated ingredients including coconut oil, coconut sugar, coconut milk, some baking chocolate, pastry flour, and all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, some Himalayan pink salt, cayenne pepper because just add a little bit of heat to that chocolate, makes it mwah. Some nutmeg, a ripe avocado, which is going to kind of be our buttery base, some Jamaican dark rum, vanilla extract, crystallized ginger, and rose petals to finish us off. And you guys, this is not my recipe. This is Bryant Terry's recipe of AfroVegan. If you don't have this book, you need to get it. And if you want to get it, there's a link in the description where you can purchase. Let's get started. Wow. That kick. Wow. Perfect. Now, if you've been cooking with me for quite some time, then you know that I tend to not follow recipes exactly. However, when you're baking, that's bad advice. Always follow the recipe as it's written. I decided to go off path with Brian's recipe and try a little thing and ended up with a very wet mess of a frosting that I had to zhuzh up and add a little bit of this and a little bit of that to bring it back to life again. A little more. Yes. Now we should be talking. That's it. Wow. 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 Do you remember that there's cayenne pepper in here? Listen, it's like a subtle, warm hug as it goes down. You don't get it in the beginning. This is so nice. And that ganache, it's smooth, it's thick. You know, the best thing about this cake is that it has all those warming spices. And as a fall baby, you know, the warmth and the spices, the cinnamon, the ginger, the nutmeg, all of that is part of our season anyway. So, and shout out to all of y'all who are willing to continue to eat cake, even though you're on a healthier lifestyle. This is the best option. So that's it, y'all. That's how you age with grace. If you like today's recipe, then hit the like button and subscribe. And remember, today's recipe came from Bryant Terry's AfroVegan. So if you like the recipe, make sure you buy the book. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, eat well and be well.